Ilia Topuria is the greatest fighter on planet Earth right now. Yes, I just said it. He is the most dangerous fighter on the face of the earth right now. Today, October 26th, whatever time it may be for you, today stands the test of time as the proving ground for Ilia Topuria being the most dangerous fighter of all time. He cracked Max Holloway's untouchable, unbreakable, invincible chin. He not only cracked it and dropped him, but he put him away with just nearly one shot. A huge left hook put away Max Holloway, one of the featherweight GOATs, and it was over. Ilia Topuria is now the greatest featherweight fighter of all time after defeating not just Max Holloway today, but also Alexander Volkanovski. My goodness, there is not a lot that I can say to praise this man anymore. Now, I wanted Max Holloway to win this fight very badly. I was hoping that Max would get the win, but I was nervous the whole time that Ilia was going to get it done. Topuria, this dude, El Matador, this dude is next level danger in every facet of the game. Today, he showcased what he can do in striking against the best boxer in the UFC. Max Holloway takes that title. He holds that title with a lot of heavy heart. He holds on to the title of best boxer in the UFC. Beat the likes of Calvin Kattar, who was thought to be one of the best boxers in the UFC. He's lost to Volkanovski, yes, but he claims that he's still the best boxer in the UFC, baby. But guess what? Ilia Topuria just knocked your lights out. It might be over for Max Holloway at 145. This fight, the stakes in this fight were higher than any that I have seen or felt before. There's been other fights that are big fights, but this one just felt next level. You've got one guy, Max Holloway, challenging the belt. One guy that thought that he would never be there again. One guy, Max Holloway, who lost to Volkanovski 3 times in a row, and we wrote him off. He said, we're never going to be the same again at 145. He came back, he knocked out Justin Gaethje. All the possibilities were in front of him to make something for himself, to really instate himself and cement himself as a Hall of Famer. He had a chance to have the greatest comeback in UFC history in this fight. To go without the belt for 5 years. 5 years without the belt. This guy was at the top, beating some of the best, beating all the contenders. But he could not beat Volk. Max Holloway could not beat Volk. If he had beaten Ilia Topuria tonight, it would have been one of the greatest comebacks in sports history, in terms of just long-term viability of an athlete making a comeback run, ascending back up the ranks after devastating fights. Ilia Topuria, though, on the other hand, Max Holloway, greatest comeback. Ilia Topuria, next Conor McGregor. Everybody says this when we're talking about Khamzat Chimaev, when we're talking about, oh, John Jones going to get back into that Conor McGregor realm, be popular again after beating Sergey. No. This dude is the next Conor McGregor. He just beat the 2 best guys at featherweight ever. Yes, Jose Aldo's still in that picture. Ilia Topuria, in the same year, didn't just beat the 2 best featherweights of all time. He finished them early. What more do I need to say about this guy? What more do you need to see to prove that Ilia Topuria is the greatest featherweight of all time already? He is the fighter of the year. Everybody is saying that Alex Pereira, because he fought 3 times, he stepped up. More power to him. Great for him. Fantastic for the company. Saved the UFC pay-per-views. Absolutely, I would rate him the UFC's MVP. If there was a separate category, I'd call him, Alex Pereira, the MVP. Stepped up on late notice and took on Jamal Hill, took on Yuri Prochazka, took on Khalil Rountree. All 3 of those on fairly short notice. Ilia Topuria just beat 2 of the best fighters of all time. 2 Hall of Famers. This guy's done it all, and he's only just getting into his prime. He's 27 years old. A fighter's prime is from about 27 to 32, 33 years old. That's a pretty short window. This guy's just getting into his prime. What does that mean? This guy could go on a run for the next 27 to 28, 28 to 29, 29 to 30, 30 to 31, 31 to 32, 32 to 33. That's 6-7 years this guy could be on top. This is the guy whose style, whose danger factor, he's dangerous everywhere. We saw what he did. He took down Max Holloway. Max Holloway is not somebody that's easy to take down. Very long legs, not easy to take down. And he did it fairly easily in the first round. Changing levels, mixing up the martial arts. That's what we like to see. Who thought that you would ever see this image before you? Max Holloway not just hurt and backed up on the ground, staying in the fight in that first pick, got put down again with that left hook. Ilia Topuria put him away. But to see him on the ground, back on the ground, out, his lights were turned off, man. He went out. Was he woken up very quickly after that? Yes, absolutely. Max Holloway has never been knocked down, has never been knocked out. And Ilia Topuria, after getting pieced up a little bit here and there, he was landing some good shots. It was very competitive back and forth. I was on the edge of my seat. It was the most nerve-wracking I've been in any fight for the past, 11, 12 months. This was one of the fights that I was looking forward to most. Like I said, the stakes, the biggest comeback ever versus the next Conor McGregor. Like these two things. Split parallel universe, whichever one happened tonight. Pins and needles, man. I could not sit down. I was so excited. I was sweating bullets through this fight. So nervous every time either one of these guys landed. Max Holloway got a couple of combinations off. I'll give him credit. Ilia was landing the big overhands, the big sweeping hooks. He was landing a couple of them. Nothing really hurt Max too badly. Got wobbled at one point, but then in the third round just flipped a switch. Put a straight right down the middle. Popped Max back. Had him hurt bad with just a straight right off the jump. He swarmed all over Max. We know what Ilia does when he backs his opponents up against the cage. He just started wailing on Max, throwing those hooks left and right. He's the shorter guy. He's got the shorter arms. He's able to hang in the pocket and box with guys. Max Holloway is very long. He can't stay in the pocket as well as Ilia Topuria, Ilia Topuria hurt him and put him away for good. This is insane. This fight is crazy. Connor Burks, how it feels watching Max Holloway get brutally KO'd. Dude, my heart hurts badly. Max Holloway is one of my favorite fighters. It's devastating, but you cannot deny that Ilia Topuria has become something of a legend in the game of MMA. Like I said, he's dangerous. He's got power in his hands. He's got crisp, clean, fast boxing. He's got great wrestling. We saw it on display today, and he's got really, really solid jiu-jitsu. What's next for Ilia Topuria, you might be asking? I don't know. Personally, I want to see him fight Diego Lopez, but they brought Alexander Volkanovski into the cage during Ilia Topuria's post-fight interview with Daniel Cormier. I don't need to see this again. Max Holloway has an uncrackable chin. Volk does not have a chin like Max Holloway. We saw what Ilia did in the first fight. Yes, was Volk coming off of that 3.5, 4 month knockout from Islam Makhachev at UFC 294, fighting again at UFC 298. Knocked out twice within 4 months. Yes, was that something that happened? Was that playing a factor? I think so, absolutely. It pains me to see it. Volk is one of my favorite fighters as well. I don't want to see this. I want to see Diego Lopez get in there. The guy, the man, the myth himself, Diego Lopez, another one of the most dangerous fighters in the UFC right now. But I want to know, what do you think about the Volk rematch? They brought him in there. Seems like they're going to basically make that official. Dana White in the post-fight presser kind of didn't really commit to it fully. Said that he doesn't think that Ilia is going to fight in February in Sydney, Volk's hometown, but Ilia didn't take a ton of damage. Could he come back, make that turnaround? It's only in 4 months. I think we could do it. If you're going to do it, you better do it then. But I do not, please do not put Volk in this fight. I do not think it is going to go well for him. I think he's going to get knocked out again. I don't want to see it happen. I don't want to see it to happen to my boy. I don't need to see it again. Whew. Featherweight contenders right now. Watching Ilia KO Max and Volkanovski in the same year. Dude, you saw Diego Lopez. If you were watching the fight, Diego Lopez had that same look Ilia Topuria had when Max Holloway knocked out Justin Gaethje. That like, oh damn, he broke his chin. He cracked the uncrackable chin. I don't know what I can do against this guy. Diego Lopez, very confident in his abilities, very chaotic fighter. That's what we want to see next. He deserves it. He's done everything. He's been the company man. Give him the title shot next year. Mid-year. I hate to see Diego Lopez sit out for so long, but if they're going to do it, have him fight Diego Lopez. He's next up. Aljamain Movsar Evloev are going to be fighting in December. That could be a title eliminator fight. Or whoever wins or loses that fights a Volk or fights a Max. Maybe somebody in that fight could make a quick turnaround and fight Volk in City. I'd rather see that happen. But yeah, man, all the contenders, everybody on the come up. Yeah, hey, Rodriguez, you think he stands a chance against this guy? Could he have some fluke flying knee KO? Diego Lopez, very dangerous. I see him being the only one that could do it. Conor McGregor. Yeah, he's back. He's in the news cycle. He's reacting on Twitter. Conor McGregor says, call me. You're too short. You're not going to do anything else. You were getting pieced up. That's what Conor McGregor's saying. Dude, I don't know, man. That would be a wild fight, no doubt. Conor McGregor's fast, man. But he's not going to make 145. Ilya would have to come up to 155, 170. It would be a super fight. And honestly, that would be probably the biggest fight you could make in the UFC right now. That might be the biggest UFC fight of all time. If you have a guy who beat the likes of Volk, fan favorite, Max a fan favorite, maybe a Diego Lopez fan favorite, and then Conor McGregor comes back at the end of the year and fights Ilia Topuria in Spain, that's the arena fight to make. If they're going to move on from the basketball, the hockey arenas, and they're going to go to soccer stadiums, if they're going to go to a full-on stadium, 90,000 people, 70,000 people, 80,000 people, this is the fight, man. Ilya talks like Conor McGregor, and he backs it up, and he's just as devastating as Conor McGregor is. This guy's the next big thing. If you're not a fan of this guy already, he is the antithesis. He is the exact opposite. He is the foil to all the Dagestanis, all the people that people complain about, all the casuals complain about, the wrestling, the boring hug in the nuts thing. This is the guy, man. This is the thing, man. This is Ilia Topuria, the first and second coming of Conor McGregor. He is the next Conor McGregor. He is better than Conor McGregor. He's more well-rounded than Conor McGregor. I would love to see this fight just for insanity's sake, just for crazy gimmick fight's sake. I think he absolutely floors Conor McGregor, flatlines him, but would it be a fun first round? Absolutely. Let's get it done. This would be the biggest fight in MMA. This would cement Ilia Topuria as the GOAT, as the greatest of all time in the casual fans' eyes, because we all know, if you were watching that Max Holloway fight, Ilia Topuria smacks Conor McGregor across the cage. I don't care if he's calling him small, diminutive, whatever. Ilia Topuria beats up on Conor McGregor, but it would be a fun first round. It would be a great, fun build-up. You could do this at a soccer stadium, sell it out, no doubt. There's no question about that. Let's get it done. Let me know what you guys think about Ilia Topuria's performance, what he did to Max Holloway, the devastation, what's next for him. I mean, what in the world are we watching here? I don't know, man. This guy could beat Islam Makhachev, and I'm not even joking. I think that he could do it. Would I have a hard time picking him for certain in that fight? No, but I don't see anybody beating Islam Makhachev if Arman Tsarukyan can't out-wrestle him, can't out-grapple him. Ilia Topuria is the kind of guy that could do it. Yeah, he's short, but he's got power in his hands. He looks great at 155 when he's moved up in the past. Dude, the sky's the limit for this guy right now. He is the next superstar. Spain, Georgia, everybody's behind him. Speaks English pretty well. Speaks Spanish, speaks Georgian. This guy speaks like 4 or 5 languages. This dude is the next Conor McGregor. The casuals might not know it yet. But my God, this guy, if he wasn't a bona fide, legitimate, all-time great after he knocked out Volkanovski in the way that he did, this just catapulted him into superstardom, into the Conor McGregor level, into that notch below Conor McGregor, that notch below Jon Jones. Jon Jones is one of the all-time most popular fighters. He is just below Jon Jones. If he beats somebody else, gets an emphatic finish over whoever's next, if he knocks out Volk again, he is jumping Jon Jones, no doubt about it. And especially in Europe, he's already over the moon with these fans. They've forgotten about Conor McGregor because of just how phenomenal Ilia Topuria's performances have been. On to the co-main event. Graphic warning here. Robert Whittaker has been broken. First round, Khamzat started out a little bit more patient than normal, but he did what he seems to always do. Gets in on the takedown fast. He has some of the fastest entries I have seen for not just a welterweight, but also now a middleweight. Did he have trouble on the scale? Yes, we'll talk about that come tomorrow. This dude, what he just did to Robert Whittaker was very impressive. He beat Gilbert Burns, legend. He beat Kamaru Usman, legend. But guess what? Those guys are 170 pounders. Robert Whittaker is a legitimate 185 pounder now. He punched his teeth in literally and then subbed him with a choke. Okay? Was it under the neck? No, but he was squeezing the jaw. Look at his teeth, man. His teeth should be standing straight up. They are knocked completely under his tongue. Khamzat Chimaev knocked Robert Whittaker's teeth in and then wrenched his jaw apart. Literally. Did he pop his teeth out or did he punch him out? I don't know. Robert Whittaker looked like he had given up fairly easily. I was very anticlimactic in the moment, very upset, like what the hell just happened? He didn't even sink the choke in. What's going on? Later revealed by Daniel Cormier after the broadcast that his teeth were punched in. Credit to him. It looked like some pussy shit at first, but we gotta be honest, there's no way that you weren't tapping after getting your jaw squeezed while your teeth have been knocked in. Props to Robert Whittaker for taking the fight. Nobody wanted to take on Khamzat. He's ranked 13. Robert Whittaker's like the second or third best contender at middleweight right now. If he had won, it would have been an automatic title shot. Khamzat Chimaev gets the automatic title shot probably here. They want to catapult this guy into superstardom as well. I think Sean Strickland should be fighting Dricus in January. We'll see what happens there at middleweight. Dana was non-committal with Khamzat as well, but I predict they probably do it because they want Khamzat to be a star. That's perfectly fine, but I don't know. I want to see him fight, guess who? Israel Adesanya. Long, rangy, evasive striker. Could he stay away from Khamzat's takedown defenses? I just want to see something, guys, man. I just want to, I just want to see what happens. Just want to see something. Maybe a murder in the cage, maybe not. We'll see. But, man, Khamzat very impressive here. Ran over Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker got a couple strikes off early. Khamzat, like I said, started a little bit slow, but he got to business quickly. He's just dangerous, man, in that first round. We know that his gas tank tends to taper off, tends to fade off into the second, third rounds. But man, this dude is probably one of the most dangerous first-round starters you will ever see in MMA. One of the most dangerous first-round fighters ever, no doubt, in terms of the grappling. Absolutely no question there. This guy is fantastic. Khamzat, even in the post-fight presser, said something. He said he felt what was wrong. There was something wrong with Robert Whittaker's chin when he started to crank in the choke, when he pushed in on the jaw, squeezed the jaw in from the sides. Obviously, those front teeth were knocked back. He felt it, man. He knew what was going on there. Khamzat, good for him getting back in the win column, but this guy got to stay active. I don't know what the visa issue is, if he can come over to the United States, if he can fight anywhere else. Maybe he can only fight in the Middle East. Well, you better get him on every damn card because he barely took any damage in this fight card. You get him to Sydney ASAP and you have him fight Israel in February. That is the thing to do right now. That is the fight to make. Israel Khamzat in February while Dricus and Sean fight it out in January. The timelines match up perfectly. This needs to happen. This needs to be the fight. He didn't take any damage. Get him back in there again. He's not cutting as much weight at 185. Let's get it done. Let's get this guy active. If you want to make him a star, you keep him active. He's only fighting once a year. Barely once a year. Get him in there. He didn't take any damage. Let's go. Magomed Ankalaev taking on Alexander Rakic, also on this fight card. Big time matchup in the light heavyweight division. This was a title fight, title eliminator bout. Absolutely no question here. Magomed, whatever your damn name is, I don't really care, man. Listen, is he as boring as people say he is? Is he as boring as the stigma is about the Dagestani? No. He's a striker predominantly. He doesn't grapple very much. He averages about one takedown every 14, 15 minutes. He's not as boring as we think he is. Rakic looked really, really good in the first round, just like he did against Yuri, but started to fade off. Ankalaev took over. He's just a calm, cool, collected striker. He's not very flashy. He's just very basic, keeps everything pretty tight and contained. He's boring, though. His character is not there, man. We want somebody fun for Poatan to fight next. Alex Topuria deserves to fight the best and the most fun and the most entertaining fighters. We don't want to see him in here against Magomed, but Magomed does deserve it. He's in like a 13-fight unbeaten streak at this point. You can't deny this guy. That's absolutely unanimously thought amongst the hardcores. But this guy's character is just awful. He's just a character that has no interest around him. He's got no aura. This guy is nothing. But he's a great fighter, and he's arguably the best light heavyweight in the world. Beat up on Rakic, outstruck Rakic. Rakic is a predominant striker as well. Very, very good striker. He just kept the pressure on Rakic the whole fight. And at the end of the fight, in the post-fight interview, we needed him to call out Alex, say something good, get himself, put his name out there. Let's get something going. Please, Magomed. And of course, he fumbles the interview. Alex, stop running. Me and you is the fight everyone wants to see. Brother, it's just like 5 words. Alex, stop running from me. 5 words, brother. Remember them. I know you don't speak English. It's okay. Not everybody has to speak English. Alex Pereira doesn't speak very much English. Stop running from me. Alex. Alex, stop running from me. Alex, you are running from me. 5, 6 words, man. DC told you how to do it. That's all you had to say. Come on, dude. We need something fun. We all know you're good. We all know you're legit. But you can't just... What are you going to do? You're going to strike with Alex? You're going to think you're going to beat Alex on the feet? No, bro. What are we doing here? Let's watch the finish. Kicked off the main card. There was also Dan Ige and Lerone Murphy. It was a fun fight. Dan Ige kind of hurt Lerone at one point. Lerone was throwing good elbows in the fight. It was a fun fight. It was what it was. Kind of a slow, boring fight, but it was technical. It was between 2 guys in the top 15. It was a respectable fight. It was all right. It was decent enough to watch. Not like most of the prelims were, just awful and just terrible across the board. The prelims were hard to watch the prelims, in all honesty here. Shara Magomedov, Armen Petrosyan started off the first fight of the main card, kicked off the first fight in emphatic fashion. Shara Putin, absolutely fantastic. Shout out to Ben Davis. Great meme here, great, so true. Me smashing buttons in UFC 5 be like one of the most spectacular finishes you might ever see. One of the most creative finishes you might ever see. One of the only finishes by this technique you might ever see again. Shara Putin, Magomedov, and Armen Petrosyan were going back and forth. First round, second round. Very competitive throughout. Back and forth, tit for tat. Armen hurt Shara early in the first round. Shara also got his bad eye messed up a little bit. Armen Petrosyan was just a step slow in this one. And Shara Putin went for broke in this moment. You gotta see this. Kicks there to the body. Keeps him away at range. Goes in. Let's back it up. Watch what he does. Boom, boom. Dude. Woo! I mean, what in the hell are we watching? If not for the Max Holloway knockout over Justin Gaethje at UFC 300, the stakes, the environment, everything surrounding UFC 300 and Max Holloway's fantastic knockout over Justin Gaethje, buzzer beater. If not for that, any other year in the history of the UFC, this would easily be one of the top 3 knockouts of the year. Let's watch it one more time. Goddamn, beautiful double spinning back fist. Let's watch that in slow motion. I will put it down to 0.25. This is probably too slow, but you got to watch this thing. It is a thing of beauty. A 1-2 double spinning back fist. They both land behind the ear. Absolutely fantastic here. Beautiful, beautiful finish. Pulled shit out of his ass. Pulled it out of the bag right in time for the end of the second round. Woof. Spins back around. Boom. Out, dude. He don't know where he is. Did he shut his lights out? No, but goddamn, he don't know where he is. 0.5, half speed, let's go. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Dude. Phenomenal finish. Absolutely amazing from Shera, kicking off the main card in style. Prelims, aside from one fight, one of the best fights you'll see all year, aside from one good fight on the prelims, this card fucking sucked. It was boring across the board. We knew this was going to happen. It was either going to be a great fight night card with fun fights across the board, or it was going to be boring as hell, and it was mostly boring as hell. Terrence McKinney, dude annoys me, but good Twitter feed here. Give him a follow. Always coming up with fun stuff. Ibo Aslan, main card or prelim featured bout. Ibo Aslan versus some Brazilian dude who doesn't deserve to be in the UFC. Obviously, this Brazilian guy came in here on late notice, threw 0 strikes, and Ibo Aslan just came in there and swung like crazy on him, got him out of there in 20 seconds. I gotta be honest. Ibo Aslan was supposed to be kicking off the entire card. The first fight of the night was supposed to be this guy, Ibo Aslan. Instead, they moved this fight up to the main prelim, the featured prelim, above the Hall of Famer RDA and perennial contender Jeff Neal. They were fighting. Jeff Neal and RDA were fighting. And they moved it above that. A guy from the region, from that Middle East region, from that Turkey Middle East region, they moved him to the main prelim. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to speculate. I don't want to be pessimistic here. But this Brazilian guy came in on short notice. They moved it from the bottom to the top. And this dude threw 0 strikes. And Ibo Aslan knocked him out in 20 seconds. You could argue it was even an early stoppage. Did they pay him to fall over in this fight? Did they pay this Brazilian guy to throw the fight? I'm truly questioning that, because why would you move this fight above RDA and Jeff Neal, if not for the fact that you knew there was going to be some kind of finish? Huh? Why would you move this fight if you knew what it was? It was a guy coming in on short notice and a guy who's only had one fight in the UFC. Why would you move it above a Hall of Famer and a perennial contender? A top 15 matchup at welterweight. Why would you move it above that, if not for the fact that you knew that there was going to be a finish by your guy, by the regional guy? I'm going to make a video in the next couple of days talking about all this Middle East corruption, whatever's going on here, because it's getting really bizarre. The Hamzat and Sharaputin weigh-in situation, the 1 hour versus 2 hours, we'll get into it. This Brazilian guy might have just thrown this fight, and it will be hard to convince me otherwise, truthfully speaking. And again, I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy. Embarrassing performance from the Brazilian at worst. Get out of the UFC, brother. The fight we all could not look away from, could not turn away from, was one of the dirtiest, nastiest, grimiest, gutsy performances by both guys. Mateusz Rebecki and Oralbai, the Neanderthal himself, put on one of the greatest fights of 2024. These guys were going back and forth. Rebecki landing the huge strikes. Oralbai being the more technical, landing on him a little bit more. This was just back and forth, bloody battle. Everyone in the front row watching Oralbai and Rebecki. There was blood splattered across the cage. Both guys cut open. Oralbai had his entire eye swollen up. It was absolute insanity. This fight was fantastic. The grappling exchanges, the reversals, everything about it was can't miss MMA. It was true mixed martial arts. Two guys going balls to the wall, putting it out all on the line, laying everything out, exhausted in the third round. Oralbai got hurt badly, but he came back and finished the round strong. They almost stopped the fight. They had the doctor come in, check out Oralbai's eye. It was completely swollen shut. He had a baseball under his eye. He could not see out of his right eye. The doctor came in, said it was good to go. And thank God they did, because they put on, from that point on, Oralbai started to come back, and they put on one of the best performances of 2024. Fantastic from both these guys. Cannot give these guys props enough. Oralbai lost the fight, but they both increased their fan appeal, increased all the casual interest who was tuning in. Their stocks were raised exponentially here. Phenomenal fight. Cannot say anything better about this one. Of course, we got to shout out Beast Boy himself, Chris Barnett. Dude jumped up in the middle of his fucking walkout. He walked out, came into the cage, jumped in the air. He's an obese 300-pound man, landed awkwardly on his ankle and seemed to break his ankle before the fight even started. He did the Bruce Buffer jump up in the air, landed weird, fucking broke his ankle before the fight started. What are you doing, bro? Embarrassing. Kennedy Nzechukwu got the win. Whatever, it was an injury. Jeff Neal also got a win over an injured RDA. Injuries, boring decisions, fluke victories, terrible decisions, bad scorecards. Come on now. These Abu Dhabi cards, these Middle Eastern fight cards are awful. They're just so bizarre every time out. They are so bizarre to watch. They are some of the weirdest fight nights you'll ever see. Tragic loss for Max Holloway in the main event. I mean, that's not related, but whatever. Dude, the first fight of the night, Carlos Leal, the steroid junkie, the juiced up monster himself, came out and put a whooping on Fakhretdinov. Fakhretdinov was trying to get the takedowns. He could not do it. This was not a dominant victory for Fakhretdinov. The scorecards had him winning it unanimously. Two of the judges had it 29-28 for Fakhretdinov, and one of them had it 10-10 for the 30-27 victory over Carlos Leal, who arguably won all 3 rounds himself. What are we doing here? Ben Davis again. Oh, it's going to be one of these cards, huh? What is this judging, bro? And of course, they've got multiple guys from the United States. They had a guy who out of Britain there, and we had Hadi Muhammad Ali. The name speaks for itself. Again, the Muslim people are great. The fans were much better tonight than they were in Saudi Arabia the past couple of events. Bar none. Saudi Arabian fans suck. Abu Dhabi fans, they're phenomenal. They were fun tonight. They were cheering. They were having fun. You could tell. Hadi Muhammad Ali, bro. What are you doing? I hope this guy did not go on to judge a single card for the rest of the night. I was not paying attention to that. But you cannot give a guy a 30-27. This was one of the worst scorecards you will ever see. One of the biggest robberies in the UFC. Somebody who beat the guy 2 rounds to 1 at worst. But I would argue 3 rounds to 1. Carlos Leal beat Fakhretdinov fairly convincingly. Very convincingly, I would say. Not fairly, but very convincingly. What are we doing here, dude? This stuff is just very suspicious. At best, it's suspicious. If not, I'll argue completely corrupt with what they're doing. Embarrassing, bad start to the fight night. Bonuses for the night announced on the post-fight presser. Mateusz Rebecki and Majtebek Oral by no question get the fight of the night. It was basically the only good fight on the card. It was the only fun fight on the card. Back and forth action. Both guys had their momentum, had a swing in advantages, disadvantages. It went back and forth the whole fight card. Max Holloway, Topuria, easily the second best fight of the card. Performances of the night, Shara Magomedov for that great spinning double back fist, Khamzat Chimaev for the quick submission over Robert Whittaker in the first round, and Ilia Topuria putting out Max Holloway's lights, dropping him and finishing him. Nobody has ever done that before. Robberies from Oral Bly, robberies for Lawal. I think Oral Bly lost the fight, to be fair. I won't say that. We'll go back on that one. But Ilia Topuria retains the 145-pound strap. El Matador himself. He's coming for everybody. This guy might just go down as the greatest fighter of all time. He's only 27 years old. He's just coming into his prime. His title run is just starting now.